Good afternoon and greetings from Germany and from the Institute for Cultural Diplomacy. Today my colleague Christina and me, we are very pleased to be with the Honorable Judge Dragoljub Popovic, who is a judge of the European Court of Human Rights. Dear Judge Popovic, thank you very much for being today with us in the Institute for Cultural Diplomacy. If you let me, please, I would like to open our conversation with a question about your opinion regarding the most significant topic nowadays, of course, Brexit. Please tell us what is your comment and opinion about the possible legal consequences of this process. Could they, to which extent and to which direction this can go for the both sides, European Union and United Kingdom?
I'm glad you were asking only about the legal consequences, because the other consequences are not easily previsible. Well, it concerns Article 50 of the Lisbon Treaty, and now the question is, when will that mechanism start working? It depends on the government of the United Kingdom, and I cannot predict whether the current government will start the process, or whether we will have to wait for a new government to come.
Thank you very much.
You have had a very successful career so far. You're a professor, you have been a judge for the European Court of Human Rights since 2005. From these different but influential positions, which have you found most challenging thus far?
Oh, well, it's a difficult question. When I was a professor, I used to teach my students, you were a student of law, weren't you? No, yes. That the most important legal profession is being a judge, and I maintained that position. That was probably the most challenging in my career. What I did as a judge is to be judged by others, and so I cannot be a judge in my own case, and that was the most challenging part of my career.
Thank you.
As mentioned, you have been the judge of the European Court of Human Rights. How have you enjoyed the position so far, and what has been the main focus of your work since you started?
Yeah, one could not choose focuses because you get the cases and you have to deal with them, to work on them, so there was no possibility of choosing. What I tried to do was to combine the activity as a judge with my previous professional career, and I wrote books on the protection of human rights, and the first one I wrote was about the property protection, because I liked that topic in the system of the protection of the European Convention on Human Rights.
Thank you.
With regards to cultural diplomacy as a tool to achieve conflict resolutions and peace, can you give us an example of a time during which you were involved in successful cultural dialogue?
I can give you an example where I was involved in an unsuccessful cultural dialogue. You know the Kosovo problem. Once upon a time, before the secession of Kosovo, there was an idea that the NGOs from both sides, the Kosovo-Albanian side and the Serbian side, should discuss. And I was involved in that negotiations. That was under the auspices of a French foundation, two French foundations. One was something about Human Rights League, and the other was François Mitterrand's France Liberté. His widow founded that NGO. And we went to Paris. I participated in the first and the third dialogue. I missed the second. As you know, the result, there was no success, but I can still claim that it was good to discuss. We were together, we were discussing in a completely friendly way and in a manner which is recommendable to all possible negotiations. Much to my regret, it does not fit your question. It was unsuccessful.
And if you let us to ask you again, significant for our present question, what is your take on the recent human rights abuses in abuse incidents that occurred unfortunately during this refugee and humanitarian crisis?
Well, there were many. Of course, there are procedures. If there were people who were responsible, they should be put to trial, persecuted, whatever. And the people who were victims of human rights abuses should be given a remedy for that. The situation is complex and it is still in process. I could not properly comment. I can only say that I do hope there will be less and less, and finally no more abuses of human rights as far as refugees are concerned.
Thank you very much. And if you let us a final question regarding your opinion for the power of human rights education as a tool for diplomacy, for creating peace, and for bringing people together in for a common better future.
Yeah, there are two standpoints. First, as far as legal studies are concerned, I can only recommend including human rights as a teaching subject, as classes, from the very beginning of the legal studies, which has already been the case in many universities. And as far as cultural diplomacy is concerned, I would recommend spreading knowledge on human rights among those who are involved in cultural diplomacy, because it can very much help them understand the problems, identify the problems, and probably find the path to the solution of the problems.
Definitely. Nowadays, for sure, knowledge is the most powerful tool for building bridges between people and for peace building.
It has always been.
It has and will be. Dear Judge Popovic, thank you very much for being here today with us, for your kindness to answer to our questions, and we are looking forward for our future meetings.
Thank you.
Thank you.